Hi, if you missed class today on Friday, August 21st, here's a little rundown very quickly of what we talked about. We kind of welcomed everybody to chemistry and we took attendance. And then we talked about at the honors level, the unit packets that you guys would need to print out. At the My regular class should have everything taken care of. If you lose your packet or anything, let me know and I can email it to you. But at the honors level, you guys are going to need to find right here. You will see that at the top, you guys all did the start here, and this will be published for you guys. It might not be published yet or some of the stuff. So I'm going to publish this weekend. Underneath this schedule will always be an intro to chemistry packet. That's the unit 1. Then the next one we'll post the matter packet. So we went over a little bit about how if you can get yourself to a printer and you can get a copy of this, it will make things a little bit easier. In the first unit, we give pretty much all papers out and things like that. You don't want to have to write all this stuff down unless you're a beautiful artist. You don't necessarily want to draw all of the lab equipment. So if you can get this, my suggestion is to get that printed, hopefully starting Monday. If you can't, please let me know. And we can figure out how to get you a packet. And then later as we go on, hopefully if you need it earlier, we can try to see if we can get it out before the unit. But it will be very helpful to have that. Otherwise, you'll just have to write everything down. The other thing we talked about was inside of the week, and this will not be published for you. There's always the space for questions. Suggest you use that. And then you have the week schedule. Another place where you're going to find the materials for each day, and I just don't want you to think that you have to print off too much stuff. Each day that we have the lecture, you will have the video for the lecture, and you will also then have the quiz, 3-question quiz that you have to always take underneath that. And then underneath that, you will have the worksheet. So the worksheets that are underneath here will always be included in your packet unless I point out otherwise. So it's not like you have to print it again. So if you have the packet of stuff, you're good. If somehow you don't or you need it, I will always put the materials that you need for that day under the video. Okay. And then we talked about this next thing is how to use a key. Something that I think that is special just to chemistry is we never gave homework that was mandatory and due, because we always gave you a worksheet and then we would give you practice problems, but we would give you an answer key. So if you were going home and let's say you're doing density problem number 7, you would always have an answer key. So you could get the immediate feedback, which I think is now even more important, on what the answer is. So you will see, and I know that this is just notes, but whenever you see whatever you need for the day, they will always be the answer key posted underneath it. Now that's a slippery slope, because some people are like, well, why don't I just print out the answer key? And if you got the packets that came to your house, I gave your parent a parent packet. I gave keys and stuff like that. That's just so it's a little more accessible. So if you have access to a key, you do not want to just use that, because there are no keys that will be given out for the quizzes and there are no keys that will be given out for the tests. So the keys are really just reference material. Because I don't have you in class, and I can't check what you're doing, I want immediate feedback for you guys. So while this isn't the hardest thing, but do your notes, and then you can reference the key and make sure that you got everything that I got. But then eventually, if we get into math, like when we're getting to thermochem and you're calculating Q, it's not a good idea to just look at the key and then try to do the problem, because that's backwards on how you're going to do it on the quiz. So you really want to do question number 5, get an answer, and then check the key. And if you don't get it, then you can go back and check your work, things like that. So answer key etiquette is going to be very important in this class, because there will be a lot of them, and it can really be a crutch that I don't want you guys to fall on. So the keys are there so you can get some immediate feedback, but not to be used, overused, I guess I should say. So we'll probably talk about keys a little bit more as we get going here, but that's one of the main things that I spend a little bit of time at the beginning of the year talking about. Yes, there's lots of answer keys, but you got to be careful with them. Okay. They can actually turn into a hindrance rather than a help if they're used improperly. But hopefully that is one of the concerns that I heard was people like, I can't even get immediate feedback, but hopefully if we're giving you these keys, you can know how you're doing immediately. And then if you have a question that's a little more streamlined, because I can be like, well, you see on the answer key on number 7, see how I doubled it instead of halved it or whatever. So hopefully it'll be a way to get some immediate feedback to you guys. Okay. So then if you miss a class, well, you guys have missed our class, and I know it was just an intro day, so no worries. But if you were to miss a class, let's say on a Wednesday, or what we're doing right now, the place where we usually put the link, I will replace with a video just like this. I would like to leave it so that I can see students' faces during live classes, and so therefore I can't record the live classes because we're not allowed to record you guys. So I always make a short little video of what we went over during that day, and then just post it here, wherever the Wednesday stuff is. Okay. And then I spent a little bit of time going over questions and concerns. On the survey yesterday, I kind of pulled out a few of the concerns here. A lot of students were concerned with being distracted, which is, I think, very, very valid. So you just want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success by removing distractions. I'm even distracted in the building. Teachers come by and they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're like, I have work to do. So make sure you're minimizing that. The lack of interaction. I am very much also concerned with the lack of interaction. And we're going to try to do as much as we can to keep that interaction, even though we're far away. The confusion. I think that one of the things that is going to hopefully help is that I'm going to be extremely organized, and you will have the same schedule for the most part. If you kind of roll down here, this is way into October. Hopefully we might be back. Who knows? We don't have school on a Friday, so we're actually going to have the test on a Thursday. And I think like a couple tests shake out on a Wednesday just because we are done with the content and I don't want to wait a whole weekend to get to Friday. So, but we are going to be as organized as I possibly can. I'm big on organization. So hopefully we can minimize the confusion if we keep a repetitive schedule. Some people are worried about showing up late to class or missing things. I hope you don't show up late to class. I don't know where you've been. Just kidding. But so just making sure that we're being honest and transparent with each other. If you miss something or anything like that, just send me an email. I'd prefer to be able to make accommodations with you before. But if we can't, we'll be flexible. This is a very challenging time for everybody. Another concern is technology not working. We all know that that's going to happen. I believe that Schoology went down yesterday, the first day, and they couldn't have some live classes. So, all right, we're just going to work on it. So I understand, and we'll just be patient and work with each other. I bet you missed the sound of that bell, didn't you? A couple questions I got from the survey that you guys took yesterday. When are things due? Which I thought was a very valid question. I must not have made that as clear as and they were talking about more like within the week. So when you're looking at a week and we talk about these completion rules, you'll see that you have 2 days of notes, 1 day of practice live with me. You'll have 1 day of office hours with a lab that's been posted, and then you'll have a quiz. So the way that things are set up and when are they due? And the question was, do I have to do my Monday and Tuesdays lab during my class, or my Monday and Tuesdays lecture during my class period? I mean, I think I can see that, but that's not a requirement. On Monday and Tuesday, the yellow folders, those are asynchronous. You can do those whenever you would like. If you're like, hey, I work Tuesday, so I want to do both of them Monday, whatever, but you have to have them complete in order to open up the quiz at the end, and it has a few more things, but you must do both of those before you come to class on Wednesday, or you'll be dreadfully lost. So Monday and Tuesdays can be done asynchronously either of those days. Wednesday, you do have a time that those are due. You have to come during your class period. Thursdays will be a lab video that we'll post. And then we'll have another office hours. My suggestion for the office hours is kind of give me a heads up. I don't know if I'll be sitting staring at my computer for 5 hours, but I will be around. So if you want to write me an email that says, hey, I have a question, can we meet? Then you'll hop on here. I'll hop on here. I might just leave it open. But if I'm not sitting at my desk and it's open, I will be back, hang around. But so the easiest way for office hours is you let me know that you're coming. And then the weekly participation points thing here at the end. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. Ooh, all right. So weekly participation points are going to be the biggest thing that will be due Thursday afternoon in order to open up your quiz on Friday. So by the end of the day on Thursday, or whenever on Thursday, it will say, how did you earn your participation points for this week? And if you have A, you type in A, if you came to class on Wednesday. B, if you made other arrangements with me and then came to my office hours. And we will very rarely use C. C will be like, I was out for the week. I was on a vacation or something, and I couldn't come to either of those, and I emailed you. So C is going to be used sparingly. So I will have a track of all of this to make sure that you answered the right one. You can't be like, well, I didn't do anything, so let me put A. I'm keeping attendance, so you want to make sure you're being honest with this. So once you put that in there and submit it, that tells me that you did your 2 lecture videos and you came to class or office hours. Once you do that on Thursday evening, then that will open your quiz when it opens Friday morning. The other thing about due dates is that the quiz will be open. So do you have to do that synchronous? The quiz will be open from 7:30 in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. That is the school period, but you can take it at any time during that day on Friday. Okay, so the only thing that is required at a specific time is Wednesdays during your class. Everything else should be due Monday and Tuesday, should be done before Wednesday. Thursday needs to be done before you can open Friday, and Friday is open from 7:30 to 1:30, and it must be submitted by the end of the week. Okay, after that, I'll just throw some zeros in the grade book so you can see where you're at and to remind you to make sure you get your stuff done. Another question was, do we have homework? The answer to that is no, not required necessarily. You have your lecture points, your participation points, and your quizzes. But am I going to collect your worksheets? I just told you that I'll give you answer keys to all of the worksheets, and I was born at night, but not last night. And if I gave you an answer key and a worksheet and made it due, you'd be like, silly Mrs. Bay. You would just copy it right in and give it back to me. So any worksheets that have answer keys are more for your practice to prepare you for your quizzes. Okay, so not necessarily like daily homework or anything. Another question was experiments. I unfortunately cannot require you to do anything. We all have different supplies and things around the house, so I can't require any experiments. I will suggest experiments, especially in the first unit. A lot of the stuff that we do is considered kitchen chemistry, so there are some things that you can do at home, but we are not required to, we are not allowed, to be able to require any labs. So what will tests look like? That's a good question. When I usually teach my class, when you're physically here, my tests are extremely hard. And I don't apologize for that because you need to have your knowledge tested every once in a while. But I don't think that it would be fair to give you my nice, hard, normal tests. And you would never take multiple choice tests in this class. They would all be short answer, apply your knowledge type questions. But I don't know that that is exactly fair. Seeing that you guys are doing a lot of the teaching yourself and that I can't be there to make sure you're understanding it as well. So we don't know exactly what tests are going to look like. They're probably going to be through Schoology, and we'll still make them rigorous, but they shouldn't be overwhelming or unfair. Okay, so we'll work together with that one. Somebody asked if they thought this class was easy or hard. I think that it can be as easy or as hard as you would like to make it. At the end of the year, sometimes I have students say, man, you would have to try to fail this class. And I agree with that. But I have some people that don't keep up with the content and they're halfway through thermo-chem and they're like, this is the hardest class I've ever taken. So you can make it what you want it. And if you stay on top of the content and you're asking questions, science builds on itself. So if you don't understand the foundation at the beginning of a unit, you're not going to be able to get those harder concepts that build on the top. So staying on top of the information is extremely important in this class. And then I open it up to see if we have any other questions. I would say if you have any questions right now, obviously we can't talk back and forth to each other. This has all been fun. Just send me an email or next time in class on Wednesday, let me know, or come to my office hours or anything. Okay. All right. The last thing that we did was we had to do a little demonstration. And so you can see behind me, I have 2 balloons. They look fairly the same. but we're going to see what happens when we light each of them on fire. All right, here we go. Number one, fairly uneventful. Let's try this other one and see if we don't get a different result. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.